So, as a bit of an icebreaker, I thought it might be nice to have a think about what tree you are today. Now, Michelle, if you can't see the screen, this is going to be a little bit tricky. But as well as introducing yourself and perhaps what organization you represent, I thought it'd be nice for us to say which tree on the screen represents your mood, maybe how you're feeling, what your day ahead looks like, or even just what tree you'd like to sit underneath. So I would personally be number one today. I think that's a big English oak tree, and it just looks very calming. And I would like to sit underneath that tree and read my book. Frankie, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the canal boat. Um, because honestly, I just love well, not the weeping willow. I love willows, and I think that yeah, they're very nice and calm and relaxed, which is what I would like to be today. I can't see people's. I'll pass to Michelle.
Michelle, are you still having trouble seeing the screen? If so, the trees might be slightly lost.
Yeah, I am, and I'm just feeling a bit hassled because I'm trying to work out why I can't see it. I've never had that problem before on Teams, so it's a bit of a mystery right now.
That is
Um, anyway, yes,
unusual.
I'm feeling a little bit hassled, but I'm looking forward to this session.
Okay, great. And are you representing an organization, Michelle, or are you just a
Oh,
kind of res
I'm representing the Gardens Residents Association, which is just off Green Lanes
Lovely? Well,
down in
welcome.
Haringey. Yeah.
And Frankie, also, were you representing an organization today?
Ah, yeah, I forgot. I got absorbed in the trees. Yes, I'm part of a group called Community Action for Land Liberation. We work mainly out of like Wolves Lane Centre doing workshops around land justice and environmental justice.
Brilliant. Nice to meet you. And yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Now, Michelle, I have posted a picture of the trees in the chat. If you are able to see the chat, that might be
Let's see if I can see the chat. Sorry.
perhaps Teams is just playing up
There
for
it
you
is.
today.
There it is.
Well, not to worry. There won't be any more kind
Um,
of visual participation, but I have emailed the slides across if that's
oh
any
yeah, I can see
easier.
that. Which tree am I?
Great. Which tree represents you today?
Oh, maybe the monkey sitting on the branch, a bit bewildered.
Nice choice. Nice choice. Lovely. And then finally, so your name says footprint, but is it Victor? Are you here? Are you able to unmute?
Oh, thank you. Hiya. I think I'll go for the palm trees.
Lovely. Yeah, holiday vibes. I'd like to be there as well. And Victor, which organization are you representing?
I'm representing Footprint for Good.
Brilliant. Lovely to have you here. Um, oh, someone else just joining. Welcome. Welcome. Is it AJ? Hi there. We've just got started, so I'll carry on, but welcome. Okay, so we are here today because June marks the 2025 Go Green Eco Urban Festival. The theme this year is around accelerating action. So this festival is led by For You Two magazine. They're a Haringey-based community group and publication. They won our Green and Sustainability Award at our showcase event last year, and they're recognised for their kind of impact in promoting green and sustainable environmental messaging, not just across Haringey but across London. This year, they've got a programme of activities across the whole of June, things ranging from food initiatives, creative arts and crafts, upcycling activities, sewing, mending, and also conversations around climate and different seminars and workshops as well. So our contribution to this agenda as Haringey Community Collaborative is this Lunch and Learn workshop that we've opened up to voluntary and community sector groups in the borough to learn a little bit more about what funding is available for green and environmental initiatives. It's an opportunity for you as well to meet others on the call that are maybe working in a similar space to you, and also just to kind of share your learning and experience in the world of green and sustainability. So today, what we're going to look at is, first of all, kind of how to search for funding opportunities, how to actually look for relevant funds. We're then going to use some examples of funding programs or big funders that are available at the moment that have a focus on green and sustainability. So we're going to look at the Nature Save Trust, the National Lottery Community Fund, the North London Waste Authority, and also Sport England. And then we'll finish up with just a little bit of kind of tips and advice around writing successful funding applications. And then we'll open it up to the group if you guys want to ask any questions or just generally share your thoughts and experience with either these funders or any other funds, be opportunity to do that as well. So I'm hoping you guys can see my slides as I'm running through them. Are the slides changing? Are other people having issues as well?
I can't see the slides. Sorry, hi.
You can't see slides.
It's saying can't display presentation.
So someone else is having that issue as well. Did you receive my email just now with the slides?
Oh,
If you registered in the Eventbrite, you hopefully would have received an email just now with the slides. But I can try and send it to you again if you haven't received them.
I haven't received them. The last email I received was Eventbrite reminding me of the session. So no, I haven't received them.
Okay, let me try one more time.
Thank you.
see if you can find it.
Okay, so hopefully that email should come through now. I'm just going to let Janet in the room.
You're letting me on twice.
Welcome. We're in the Lunch and Learn for Haringey Community Collaborative's Go Green event for those that have just joined. There's a little bit of issue with some people viewing the slides, but some people can see them. So I've sent them in an email just now. Hopefully people will be able to follow along as we go. We're currently on slide number 5, and we're looking about how to search for funding opportunities. So when it comes for looking for suitable funds, Haringey has a really good website called Haringey for Community. This is what the landing page looks like. If you type this into a Google or a search engine, it should come up. You'll need to create a login to be able to explore the funds on that page. It's completely free to use, and it's very interactive and very helpful. So once you've created a login, you can filter your search to be really specific for what you're looking for the funding for. So these are some of the examples of the filters that you can select. So first of all, you want to tell it what kind of organization you are. So are you a community interest company? Perhaps you're a cooperative, a registered charity. And as you then select it, it will narrow down the funds to only present you with funds that you're eligible for. You can then be even more specific by telling it what you're looking for the funding for. And they have a section where you can select environment so that you can look for, funds related to environment and sustainability. Within that, there's even more sections to narrow down your search. So maybe that's too broad, and actually you just want to do a project around waste and recycling, or perhaps it's environmental improvements. So you can select it to be as broad or as specific as you like. And then the final drop down is also what you want to spend the grant on. So some funders will kind of have limits or parameters around what you can spend the funding on. So the more specific you can be here, the more relevant the funds will be. So, for example, you can tell it that you're looking for funding for venue hire or transport or purchasing equipment, and then it will only give you funds that are suitable for your search. So moving on to slide number 7, another way to search for funding opportunities is through newsletters. This is maybe a bit of a shameless plug for our own newsletter, but we as Haringey Community Collaborative have a weekly newsletter where we feature 4, 5, maybe 6 different funding opportunities each week, all which have deadlines kind of approaching. You can quickly click the link at the top of the newsletter to take you straight to the funding opportunities if that's all that you're interested in. And all of our previous bulletins are also available to view online, so you can go back through and have a look at those if you're wanting to do a kind of deep dive search into funds that are available at the moment. When I send these slides around, all of the links are included as well. So anything that's kind of in bold and got an underline, you can just click the links and it will take you straight to the page. So we are not the only ones with a bulletin. There are lots of different funders out there, and many of them have newsletters, and that's kind of their main way of communicating with their audience. So these are just some examples. The Nature Save Trust, who we're going to be talking about today, they have frequent bulletins where they give updates and information about their funding rounds. The National Lottery Community Fund also have a monthly newsletter where they share lots of opportunities, hints and tips about what they're looking for, and also stories about other funded organisations that they've funded. So it's a really good way to kind of understand what that funder is looking for and the types of groups that they would ordinarily fund. Other ones include the North London Waste Authority, ours, which I've mentioned. And then there are also lots of different websites as well where you can look for funding beyond the ones I've mentioned today. So one of the big ones is called Get Grants. They have a funding finder. And again, there's a link to their website there. And 360 Giving Grant Nav. That's a good website for looking at lots of different funders and their history of who they've funded. Again, to kind of get a sense of whether you'd be suitable for that particular funder. Okay, so I'm moving on to slide number 9, and we're now going to go through a few examples of funding opportunities that are available and open at the moment for green and sustainability initiatives. So the first one is from Nature Save Trust. They provide grant funding, and over the years, they've provided grants mainly to smaller and grassroots organisations that really make a difference, but particularly those that are maybe struggling to find other funding opportunities. Their key areas are nature conservation, sustainable communities, and renewable energy. So a bit more about Nature Save Trust. They are an environmental charity, but they're funded through Nature Save Insurance. So it's the kind of charitable arm of an insurance company. Their grants are up to £5,000, and they currently have a funding window. It's their May to June window, which is open for applications. And the deadline for this fund is the 10th of July. So still, a couple of weeks to apply, and I'll talk a little bit through the application process for this one, but it's fairly straightforward. So the theme for this round of the funding is nature connection. And if you think that 2 weeks is too soon to apply for this one, they have 3 funding rounds per year. So it's good to kind of get the background today, and you can always think about applying for a future round. So in terms of what they're looking for, we're now on slide 11. They are looking for grant applications from charities, community groups, and organisations working to connect communities through nature. So it's bringing together people, bringing together nature, and they've listed here some examples of the types of projects that they'd be willing to fund. So they've suggested things like arts and cultural activities, community gardening, green gyms, eco-anxiety and mental health, and many other options there. And they're also open to listening to your ideas as well beyond this list. So we're on slide 12. The application form for this one, it is fairly straightforward. It's quite short. They just want to know the name of your project, a short summary of what your project will be about. What's your overarching objective? What are you kind of looking to achieve, or what do you want to deliver? And then the funding requirements. So how much are you looking for to be able to run your project? And they're also keen to see your organization's website and any social media pages that you have as well, because they like their groups to kind of share things with the wider audience and sort of include Nature Save's social media in there as well. So that's example number 1. I hope that's of interest. Again, more details are in the slides, and you can read much more about that on their website as well. Looking at example number 2, many of you will have already heard of this one, but there is a reason why I've included it in this particular presentation. So the National Lottery Community Fund are a big national funder. They have a variety of different funding programs, but they have pivoted their focus lately to have environmental impact as one of their key priorities. So they recently wrote this on their website earlier this month. Environmental action benefits people as well as the planet. On World Environment Day, the National Lottery Community Fund published new research showing that environmental action can improve people's mental health, helping them to lead healthier and happier lives. Not only that, but over a third of UK parents felt spending time in nature would help their child's mental health, and over a quarter said that access to green space would benefit them. So moving to slide 14, the National Lottery have a variety of different funding programs, and they're accepting applications for green and sustainability projects in 3 of their funds. So grants from £300 to £20,000 through their Awards for All programme. Anything from £20,000 upwards through their Reaching Communities programme. And they also have a climate action fund, which is obviously very much dedicated to green initiatives, for larger scale pieces of work from £500,000 and above. So I'm going to spend just a little bit of time talking about their Reaching Communities grant. So that's the one from £20,000 upwards. Last week, we were lucky enough to have Maxine Murray, who's the funding officer for North London. She came in and did a presentation about this fund. And the details on these slides today are directly from Maxine. So this is kind of up-to-date information about what they're looking for the Reaching Communities grant. So it's a 2-stage application process. They will fund individual organisations, but also collaborations or partnerships between multiple groups. You can apply for multi-year funding up to 5 years. The application form is online, but you can also get the application form in other formats if needed. Your funding request should be proportionate to your organisation's income. So that's just sort of saying, you know, if you're a smaller, newer group, maybe don't go asking for lots and lots and lots of money straight away, but make sure it's proportionate to what you're capable of delivering and kind of maybe previous funding that you've received in the past. And like I said, Maxine Murray is the North London kind of officer for this fund, and she's more than happy to meet with community groups on a one-to-one basis to talk through your ideas. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know and we can set up that meeting with Maxine. So again, pivoting back to the environmental focus, they have 4 key priorities. And when you're putting in your application, you have to demonstrate that your organisation relates to one or more of these. They updated these in April 2025. So only 2 months ago, these have been updated. And the bottom one, environmental sustainable communities, is one of the newer priorities. And from what Maxine tells me, they haven't had many applications from funds that are based around green initiatives yet, but they really want to encourage that. So now really is a good time to apply for the Reaching Communities grant with a green project. So what does that mean? Really, it's about engaging climate issues and having positive environmental impact, as well as improving access to quality natural spaces. So again, that's quite similar to the Nature Save example that we were looking at before. Often, you know, these priorities don't just kind of come out of nowhere. They've not just been plucked out of thin air. A lot of the funders will have similar priorities. So if you can align your organizations with these priorities, it's going to help you when you're writing your applications. So looking at slide 17, this is what the application process looks like. It's a little bit longer. There are a bit of a larger word limit for some of the questions, but again, it's fairly straightforward. What do you want to do? Who is going to benefit from your project? Number 3 is, how does your project support people and communities to shape the decisions that affect their lives? Now, this is one that Maxine has flagged to us as one that often people perform quite badly on this question. And what they're really looking for is, how is your community and your service users involved in actually designing and delivering the project with you? So kind of having those co-production values at the core of what you do, making sure that your decisions and your project plan is really shaped by the communities or the families or the individuals who are going to be ultimately using or attending the project that you run. And then finally, why are you the right organization to do the work? So that's a bit about your track record, your ability to engage certain communities, and any other evidence of the excellent things that you're doing. So before I move on to the third example, I was just going to take a minute, that's all. Sorry, I'm going to have a sip of my cup of tea.
Can I just ask something about the
Yes.
deadlines for those, or do we need to
Yes.
look them up?
So the deadline for the nature save example, number 1, it's quite soon. So that one is on Thursday, the 10th of July. So about 2 weeks from now. But they do have multiple funding rounds throughout the year.
Yeah.
The Reaching Communities one, so the National Lottery one, that is a rolling fund. So there's no deadline. They're continually accepting applications. Okay, so we're going to move on to the third example now, which is from the North London Waste Authority. So they have a fund called the North London Community Fund, and they give away £250,000 each year to support local reduction initiatives. So whereas some of these previous funds have been very broadly about the environment and people, this one is more specifically about reducing waste. So in the round that's just gone by, they funded 20 projects of up to £15,000 across the 7 North London boroughs. So that's Barnet, Camden, Enfield, Hackney, Haringey, Islington and Waltham Forest. And the projects cover a variety of initiatives that are designed to reduce waste. So that might be food waste, plastics, textile waste, electrical or household. So the applications for this one usually open in November. So it's not currently open, but you've got, a good few months now to think about putting together an application for the next funding round in November. Again, this is a link in the slides where it will take you to their website with a lot more information about the fund. Why this one is a good one to apply for is because alongside the funding, they also have lots of training and workshop to help your organization develop and grow. So here's an example of the workshops that they ran last year. So it's things around managing and developing your people, so your staff and your volunteers. They've got things on equality, diversity and inclusion. Also kind of more practical skills around monitoring and evaluating your projects, and a range of different workshops, a mixture of online and in person. So yeah, they're a supportive funder. They'll kind of help you out along the way. The picture on the screen is an example of the timeline from last year. So we can expect that will look quite similar from November 2025. So with this funder, they give you lots of opportunities to attend webinars, to learn more about what they're looking for, and they have opportunities for you to pitch questions about your application before you submit it as a final piece. So again, more information on their website about that one. So the fourth and final example I'm going to look at today is from Sport England. And you might be thinking, because this is what I was thinking, what has Sport England got to do with environmental green projects? But turns out they have a lot to do with it as of this month. Again, they've pivoted their priorities to include the environment and sustainability, which is really nice to see. So they offer grants ranging from £300 up to £15,000. This is another one with a kind of ongoing timeline, so you can submit your application whenever you're ready. But obviously don't wait too long, because sometimes they can close things unexpectedly. But yeah, for the time being, you can submit applications whenever you wish. Yeah, so from June 2025, they are now encouraging organisations to apply for grants for new initiatives that improve environmental sustainability and also physical activity opportunities for people and communities who need it most, with a particular interest in climate justice. So this is addressing the barriers facing those most affected by climate change, and to support them to access sport and physical activity opportunities. So what does that mean in a bit more detail? They have outlined 6 particular priorities around their environmental focus. So one of them is around inequalities, inclusion and participation. Then they have some that's more specifically about energy and resources. So reducing carbon emissions of maybe transport or facilities. So maybe if you've got a lot of people traveling far to get to your sporting event, they might want to fund opportunities for more, sustainable transport options, or encouraging people to cycle to sessions, things like that. Just going to let someone in who's in the lobby. Welcome, Sandra. We are just looking at Sport England as a funding opportunity example. So some of the other things that they're interested in is blue-green environmental quality and use. So this is to do with waterways and green spaces, and also including green and sustainable planting within more urban environments. Also things like biodiversity and resilience, so adapting to climate change and extreme weather events. So admittedly, you might never have thought about sporting activities before. Maybe it's not something that your organisation does, but it might be a nice opportunity for you to think about partnering with a local sports centre, a leisure centre, or even just like a local football team or club. And using your expertise in environmental sustainability and their expertise in sport and delivering those activities, you might want to partner together to think about developing an application for this fund. So again, the link is included in the slides. You can find out more on their website. And if you're interested in applying, that leads me to my next slide. We're now on slide 22. With Haringey Community Collaborative, we have our VCS capacity building lead. She's called Juliet Chard, and she is more than happy to meet with you to discuss applying for funding. She can help you with proofreading your applications. She can give you advice on kind of thinking about ideas for your project. She can also help you with like supporting documents. So if they require particular policies or safeguarding, for example, and you're a bit stuck with some of those things, Juliet can help you through the application. She's also really clued up on the theory of change. She's done lots of theory of change workshops to really think about your organization's overall aims and your mission and how you're going to achieve those things. So if you want to get in touch with Juliet or any of the other team, you're welcome to email hello@haringeycollaborative.org, and we can pick up a meeting or emails that way. One of the funders we mentioned today was particularly interested in seeing organizations' web presence and also social media presence as part of spreading the word about the work that you're doing. So if your organisation doesn't have a website, but maybe you'd like to have one, we also have a Lunch and Learn coming up next month to help community groups design your own website. and they give you some examples of some tools and some free resources to be able to do that. So I would encourage you to come along. We have Superhighways, who are our guest presenters at that Lunch and Learn, and that might be a nice way to improve your online presence. Some more kind of tips on writing successful applications, and I guess that leads us to the sort of second half of this session today, an opportunity to have a discussion among each other. But it really is good to talk to other people who've gone through the application process for particular funds. If you can learn from their experience, it can hopefully save you making some of the same mistakes that maybe they've made, and it's just good to learn from each other. So yeah, please do share your tips and experience, and also collaboration, not competition. Funders do welcome applications from partnerships. So if you think maybe the fund is interesting to you, but maybe you don't think you're quite there as an organization, or you're lacking some skills, it's always an opportunity to link up with another group and put together an application in partnership. And I know it can feel a bit scary and sometimes it's a bit confusing, but again, you're welcome to get in touch with Haringey Community Collaborative, and we can maybe help facilitate some of those discussions to help you form those partnerships. So that brings me to my final slide. It's got our contact details on again, if you want to follow up with any of the support that I mentioned, or just have a look at some of the other things we've got coming up. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just open it up to you guys. If you have any questions, or if you want to offer your feedback or experiences with some of these funders, then please do so.
I had a quick question about like a few of them, I guess. So our group is just like a volunteer, like we all just volunteer. We're not like an incorporated organization or charity or anything like that. Does that mean like, are there any of those funds that you mentioned that you need to be like a charity or like a proper like CIC or something like that in order to apply for them?
So some of them will have tighter eligibility requirements than others. If you're an unincorporated group, unfortunately, some funders do eliminate those kind of groups, and you would need to have some form of governance structure or be an actual, charity or CIC to apply. I know with the National Lottery, the Awards for All, I think they're open to kind of anyone to apply. So that might be a good place for you to start.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frankie. Michelle, I'm not sure if
Sorry,
you are.
I'm
Oh, yes, you're on
muted.
mute. Go for it. Fire away.
Oh dear, I noticed there was another fund that the North London Waste Authority were involved in, but it's a separate fund. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's linked to some project that's been developed at the moment, and I think that one didn't require you didn't have to be a proper organisation. You could just be a community group. I don't know if you know the one I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about.
Not off the top of my head, but I can have a little dig around.
Find it. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. I just recently sent an email about it. Yeah, Frankie, what kind of organisation is yours then?
So we're called Community Action for Land Liberation. So we are a group that is based in Haringey, and we mainly do workshops at Wolves Lane Community Centre, the community garden. And it's pretty much around like land justice. So kind of like linking in the kind of environmental justice, climate justice aspect to like food growing, to issues of people not having access to land, basically. And so our workshops kind of try and like link people in with all of those like terms and what they mean. But then we also try and like work together to like upskill our community that we're all part of in terms of
Yes.
having access to growing space, how to grow food, housing
Yeah.
rights, all those
Yeah.
kind of anything that you can link to sort of land justice and how that links with other things. That's not an explanation. I think I'm catching COVID, so I'm a bit brain foggy today.
It's all right. Yeah, but you're run by
But
volunteers. I
yeah.
mean, my group is
Mm.
also, I mean, we're a residents association, so we don't have any paid workers. We're based just off Green Lanes, you know, the southern part of Green Lanes, nearer Finsbury Park. And yeah, we're quite an active group, so we run a lot of activities. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just managed to get a small grant from the council's community carbon fund
Mhm.
to raise awareness amongst the residents of how we could reduce our carbon footprints.
That's
So we're
great
going,
to hear.
That's
so
great.
we're going to be running a range of activities over the year. Quite a full program actually when I look at it.
Mm.
But what I'm doing to make it a bit easier is piggybacking this onto things we already organise. So we already have play streets, and we have community gardening sessions once a month on Saturdays, and the play streets are once a month as well. And then we have various other activities, like we always do a spring event. And so I'm incorporating this into those events and making sure that we have information at those events and do some extra activities at those existing events to try and, you know, make it a bit easier to deliver. But yeah, be quite good to hook up with maybe you, Frankie, and look at
Yeah.
how we could work together in some way, or bring somebody from the organisation down to come and speak to our residents association at some point.
Yeah, definitely. No, that would
And
be great.
we've
Yeah,
got a very
sure.
tiny little community garden which has won lots of awards. Yeah, it's just being judged for a green flag at the moment. So we're waiting the outcome, but we always get London in Bloom. We get like gold awards for that.
Nice.
And it's a very small space, but people absolutely love it. And there are people in flats nearby. And in fact, now around where I live, it used to be mainly family homes, but a lot of them are being converted into flats. So there are lots of people around here who don't have access to gardens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
that's,
we should definitely link up because that's a big part of our work. I'm also kind of on the side, we're collaborating with setting up like a Right to Grow campaign in Haringey as well.
yeah,
There's one
that would be
happening
good.
in Walthamstow right now. So definitely, and like one of the first things we're doing is like mapping like growing spaces. So that'd be really good to chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remind me the name
What
of
about
your group again? I didn't catch it.
Community Action for Land Liberation. I can put it in the chat.
Community Action
It'd be,
Collaboration.
yeah, it'd be nice to hear about footprint and what you're working on as well, Janet.
Yeah. Be happy to share information. It's really good to share, isn't it?
I'll put my email in the chat, our email in the chat as well.
Yeah. I'm sort of, I mean, some of these grants I'm going to take back because there's funding that we could do with for our community garden that needs renovating. And I was also wondering about, I don't know if it's too far-fetched, but to try and incorporate something to Sports England around the play streets. Because, that's once a month we have lots of kids come and have access to the street to play in. So it's right on their doorstep. And then we had one month we had a skateboarding group that turned up with lots of skateboards for them to skateboard on. And in the past we've had like cycle training people come. So if we incorporate those things into the play street sessions, it might have more of a chance of getting, a small grant from them. And if we particularly targeted the people in the flats who don't have access to gardens, that would be good. But I'm also looking at you know, how to, because we've got this funding up until, say, May next year. So I'm looking at, you know, what we might be able to apply to after that. Not necessarily to continue the same project, but I'm hoping that through doing all this work and all these sessions, you know, we'll be able to identify different projects really to sort of take forward, you know, what residents could do on a bigger scale to reduce our carbon footprints rather than just small things. I don't know what that would look like at the moment, but I'm hoping that will become clearer over the year and see how many people get involved. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear from some of the rest of you as well.
Janet, do you want to share any information about your group?
So we're a community centre, a bit like yourself, Michelle, but we're in Hackney, so I'm not sure I'll be able to access most of your support funding, but I'm glad I've been able to join the session. So I'm able to hear some of the groups and how to apply for funding. It'd be nice to get some funding for our community garden. I'm in an estate. I've got immense nets. I've got a garden, but it's quite nice. Before I got my garden, me and the children used to use the community garden quite a lot. And we've had a group that comes round in to the Hackney community centres and give like sessions on how to grow in a flat, how to grow on your balcony. But I've forgotten their name. I'm trying to remember their name. As you were talking about your group, Frankie, I was trying to think, what's their name? If I think of their name, I'll share it. But I don't remember their name. But I don't know how much I'll be able to access Haringey's funding because I'm in Hackney. But I'm really grateful that I've had the chance to learn a bit more about how, let's say, the National Trust fund provide, like how to go through their funding process. That's quite good. We're in a regeneration, but we've still got the community garden for now until they decide to take it out. And we're hoping we'll get it back in the new estate that's been built. So, but everyone, it's a really useful one. Everyone really uses our community garden. So that's what I'll be looking for funding for, really. Grow that a bit more and be able to do more community events with the funding, with some kind of funding to help everyone, bring everyone out a bit more. Yeah.
What's the name of your community centre?
So we are in Coville Estate. So it's Coville.
Coville.
You might know. We're not too far from Newton Green.
Oh, okay.
You might know.
Yeah. I think most of the funding that has been mentioned today is open to people in Hackney as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But I think I was thinking about the website thing because we've been wanting to put up a
Oh, yes.
But I don't think I'll be able to access that. But I might just look for something on webinar and just see if something comes up.
Janet, for you, I'd love for you to come along. No worries. I don't mind. You can still come along.
Very much. Thank you.
If you've seen it online and if it's of use to your organisation, then yeah, we're happy to help.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I think there's been some kind of community gardens and parks mentioned today as well. So I will just put in the chat, Haringey Council have a People Needs Parks Fund. And again, I don't think you need to be a kind of incorporated or registered organisation to apply for that. So definitely worth having a look at. And I've just popped the link in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
And also, Janet, Hackney have a version of our service as well. I think they're called Hackney CVS. So they'll have lots of different resources and support available as well.
Okay. Yeah, I am aware of them, but I'm not sure they have as active. But I will. I can CVS. I will definitely, because they're more cover the volunteering work. There's more volunteering work I think I can link them to. Not much, but yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Beth. Thank you.
No worries. Now, Victor, I can see you have popped up on our screen. Would you like to say a little bit about what Footprint for Good do? Your microphone is on mute if you are trying to.
Right, sorry about that. We're an organisation that works with young people, some young people that are at risk, and we predominantly kind of work around upcycling broken down furniture and fixing it up with young people. And the young people fix it up and paint it, etc. And then they sell it and they keep the money from it. And it's like a counterweight to kind of getting involved in crime and youth violence and stuff like that. So we're based in Wood Green, and we are starting to work in different places in Haringey as well. Yeah, we do a few other projects, some stuff that's sort of related to using kind of waste and maybe creating kind of bird boxes and feeding stations, and kind of promoting, what would I say, kind of promoting the benefits of wildlife and the environment to young people, kind of bridging that gap, getting young people more involved in their environment and kind of making them more grounded as a result of sort of connecting better with nature, really.
Amazing. And have you had any experience applying for any of these particular funds?
I think, as you know me well,
I say it's a loaded question because I know you have had some experience.
So yeah, we've applied for. Actually, I think we've applied for the North London Waste Authority one, and we were successful this year. And I think we've applied for the carbon one. The lower one we were successful, and the higher one we were successful, but they've got quite a stringent due diligence thing that they put in this. Well, that's been there. It's a bit heavy for us because we're quite a new organisation, really. The lottery, I think we've applied for as well. But that new one around Sport England, I've never heard of that before. And there's one around linking Sport England and the kind of climate change, the environment. So that kind of looks a bit unusual. I'm not sure how that looks exciting, but it looks unusual. So I'm not sure how we bridge the gap between those two. But that is something that I would be looking at. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that one, especially for you with the work that you do with young people and the amount of, sporting activities that young people are involved in, I think that one would be a really good one for you to look at, Victor. And we'd be happy to kind of work with you on that.
Yeah. So basically, I'll just say, yeah, it's really nice to see a lot of you guys today, and to hear about your projects, and to kind of hopefully we can all collaborate and speak again and work out how we can all kind of work with each other. I know that volunteers, anyone who works with a lot of volunteers, there's always something to learn about working with volunteers. Anybody that's working with community gardens, we put a lot of bird boxes into community gardens and spaces on housing estates. Anybody who's kind of looking at climate justice as well, like fighting for land, is another thing that we'd be kind of like interested just to hear about, just to learn more about what the issues are, and maybe some of the young people get involved in, particularly like using their voice in a kind of democratic kind of personal power kind of concept, speaking to their local environmental minister, learning how to walk the paths of power, really, how to turn a campaign into a force for good, force for change. So something like that would be, it's always quite good for young people to know that, this is how we kind of utilize our own personal power to affect democratic processes and stuff.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, we are a smaller group here. If the four of you are happy, I can share your email addresses among each other. Is that all right?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So you can connect afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we could do that, because I think we could do some joint working. Yeah. And sharing info.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, Victor, because Wolves Lane always needs people like help with like building like raised beds and things for the community space. And it's literally, Wolves Lane is right by Wood Green. It's like a 10-minute walk from Wood Green Station, and it's this huge community garden that like people don't know about. So if the young people want to come and like enjoy the space, it's a really like, that would be really nice. Just thinking that.
We're currently working with I think it's called something like Woodside High, which is near Wolves Lane, isn't it? It's near that running track. There's a running track. There's
Yeah,
a school,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's Wood or Mulberry. And we're looking at doing it, I think next Monday, looking at doing some kind of I think it's not furniture or animal habitat creation thing down there. But I thought that, you know, you've got, I remember I did come to Wolves Lane, there was a fox running around. Is he still there?
One
I
of
don't know where he
one
was
of the
living.
foxes passed away, but
Oh,
there's
right.
still more. I know they were poorly, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
but there's still
So
more.
was that Colin? Colin the fox? What was his name?
I think it might have been Colin. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Well,
yeah, I'm thinking that
yeah.
we might have a small enclosure that we could put together, but maybe if he's gone, then. But you might have hedgehogs and stuff like that down there. So no, maybe not.
Well, any I think like, you know, like insect hotels, raised beds, bird boxes, they're all very welcome. Yeah.
So maybe I'll talk to the school about coming there as well. Maybe when I have my meet.
No, definitely. I can definitely, if you email, I can definitely link you up with people at Wolves Lane who can facilitate that. And yeah.
Brilliant. And it is quite short notice, but tomorrow afternoon we're holding our monthly voluntary sector forum at Wolves Lane as a bit of a summer networking session. So again, sorry, it's very short notice, but if you are available tomorrow afternoon, you're more than welcome to join us up there, meet other community groups and have a look at the space. They're going to kind of show us around, look at their glass houses and all of the cool stuff they've got going on up there, because it is a bit of a hidden gem, isn't it? And also mentioned earlier was the lunch and learn that we've got coming up next month about designing your website. So I'll just pop that one in the chat as well. You're welcome to come along to that and just sign up to everything through Eventbrite.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, we've reached about 1 o'clock. So thank you so much for joining us today. And it was really nice to hear about your organizations. And I hope you've learned something and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you all. Really nice to meet you all.
Bye.
That's good. I
Bye.
think I've just found the link to that funding I mentioned. Maybe I'll email it to you.